Hey everybody, it's X, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing a quick draft of Magic Foundations. This is the current core set that's going to last for several years, which means that it's like 50% reprints, 50% new cards, and it is some basic bread and butter Magic, but it was a really good set, really fun draft format, had a lot of good archetypes, even if it is a little bit more simple Magic. But without further ado, let's just get into the draft. I'm happy to flash back to it here. It is some great stuff. So for our pack one, pick one, we have some really good uncommons in particular. The Mischievous Mystic is one I like a lot. There's a lot of good card draw in blue. A lot of cards like Think Twice that'll draw one card when you cast them. So it's really easy to get extra fairies out of this card. I think Mischievous Mystic is a great army in a can style creature. The Vampire Gourmand is also very good. You get to sack your stuff to draw a card given unblockable every turn, and there's a good black-based sacrifice deck in the set. Even a Johnny's Pridemate can get really big really quick. There's some good life gain decks in white. And outside of that, excellent removal with a bake into a pie at common. But let's start with Mischievous Mystic, see what we can pull off with that card. Pick number two, the blue cards are much less exciting here. There's an Aetherize and a Tolarian Terror. Aetherize, pretty narrow, obviously like a big blowout in exactly the right spot where your opponent attacks with everybody, but the majority of the time it's a little bit overcosted and not great. You end up bouncing like one or two creatures for 4 mana. You're holding a bunch of your mana up, so if you don't end up casting it, there's a huge opportunity cost there. So not a huge fan of either of the blue cards. I do like Tolarian Terror, but there's no way I'm taking it this early. So off color, we have Diregraph Ghoul, which is big for the cost, or Burglar Rat in black. Those are both great. Particularly Burglar Rat is the one I like more, as some hand disruption. Good 2-for-1. Then in other colors, Bite Down is okay removal. Don't think that pairs well with blue, though. I do think blue-black's a really good color pair, so I'd prefer to go for like Burglar Rat towards blue-black than Bite Down towards blue-green. The other best card here would be just going completely off color and taking the Ruby here. Solid card for some green-red. But let's grab a Burglar Rat. Try to see if we can still end up with a Mischievous Mystic deck. Pick number 3, Dreadwing Scavenger is kind of the mythic uncommon of the set. This card is so good. 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer. When it enters and when it attacks, you draw a card and discard a card, which would trigger Mischievous Mystic every single turn. And that fills your graveyard towards Threshold to get the Death Touching flyer as well. Dreadwing Scavenger is the nuts, and we're super happy to see it after taking a blue and a black card. Very lucky pull there. This pack is really good, though. There's also a Micromancer. There's a lot of 1-mana removal spells. There's one in almost every color. So being able to play this, pull out a Stab out of black, the -2/-2 spell is really nice. I like Micromancer a lot. Big Fin Bouncer is a good tempo play, and Niv-Mizzet is a very fun, rare, but a little bit narrow. You have to grab non-combat damage sources. So Niv-Mizzet's not as good as any of these other cards, but very cool one. Come on in, Dreadwing Scavenger. Pick number 4 now. Strix Lookout is a very solid 2-drop for these decks. It synergizes with the Mischievous Mystic. You get to chip in for damage and hold up the blocker at the same time. Keeps those 1/1s off of you. Yep, not a crazy pack at all. We'll just take a Strix Lookout. Pick number 5, Think Twice is great for these decks. It's a great card to discard to your Strix Lookout or your Dreadwing Scavenger because you maintain that card worth of value because of the flashback ability. Infernal Vessel, fun for the sacrifice decks, but less interesting in blue-black. Let's grab a Think Twice. Pick number 6 now. These cards are all okay. There's nothing particularly good for anyone. I think any card that I draft here is going to be very likely to get cut by the end of this draft, but I'll grab Aetherize, I guess. It's the highest rarity, so it also fills Vault Progress. Here's a blue-black dual land I'm happy to take when the spells are mediocre. Witness Protection's very mediocre removal. You don't want your removal spells to leave your opponent with anything behind. Even if it is just a 1/1, there's ways to use them pretty well in the set. There's some sacrifice archetypes, there's equipment and stuff. So I'm really not a big fan of Witness Protection. I'll just take a Siphoner. Pick number 9. Things have dried up a bit here towards the end of the draft, but the first half of the draft we got some really good cards, so I think we're doing perfectly fine as we move into pack number 2. Okay, pack 2, pick 1, a triple red rare. That is not something we can easily pivot onto. Out of the on-color cards, the only really exciting one is Uncharted Voyage. And even then, that's not that exciting. It's just fine interaction, which we don't have a bunch of. Come on in, Uncharted Voyage. Pick number 2, there's that Vampire Gourmand I like a lot, but we're also still pretty low on good removal, particularly Eaten Alive being excellent removal. Exile a creature, Planeswalker. You can do it for 5 mana, or if you have something expendable to sacrifice, like a Burglar Rat, you can do it for only 1. So I'm going to take Eaten Alive over the Gourmand here. Pick number 3, Arbiter of Woe is an excellent finisher for these decks, really for any black deck. You do have to sacrifice a creature to play it, but a 5/4 flyer drains your opponent for 2 life, makes them discard a card, and you draw a card is some excellent stuff. Speaking of excellent stuff, wow, now there's a Vampire Nighthawk and a Micromancer. Micromancer can tutor out our Eaten Alive, so it's a really good 2-for-1 play, but the Vampire Nighthawk is just wonderful stats for the cost. That's a really close pick. I'm really partial to Vampire Nighthawk. One of the very few times I ever played Standard in my life was back during, like, when New Phyrexia came out, like way back during Zendikar New Phyrexia era. No, I think that Vampire Nighthawk was in one of the core sets. Either way, when New Phyrexia came out, there was an equipment that gave +X/+X, where X number swamps you control, and I played a mono black deck where I just put that onto Vampire Nighthawks. It just drained for a bunch of life. So I really, really like Vampire Nighthawk, but I think Micromancer is probably objectively better here, seeing as we do have the Eaten Alive, and just getting a bunch of 2-for-1 value plays is what this kind of deck wants to do. It may be a little sad, but I'm going to take Micromancer. Faebloom Trick is ridiculous. Arbiter of Woe is ridiculous. Refute is really good. Just wonderful stuff this draft. My lord. I think I'm just going to grab another finisher. Grab that Arbiter of Woe. Diregraph Ghoul here. These are all good cards again. Let's not play Neutralize. Let's not play a Soul Caller. Let's move our non-creature cards into a stack. Probably try not to play Fake Your Own Death. Maybe not play Ghouls or Siphoner. Other Strix Lookout or Light Shell Duo, I think, are what we want the most here. Not really the Inspiration from Beyond. Really like how Strix Lookout plays with the Mischievous Mystic. It's one of the better 2-drops for the deck. I think I'm rolling Strix Lookout here over Light Shell Duo, but this card is good. It's a lot better than it was in Bloomburrow. Another Think Twice, come on in. Much simpler pick there, simpler pick here. Probably simpler picks for the rest of the draft. The Wizard here, very, very filler, but with Scavenger, double Lookout, double Think Twice, it's actually fine filler. We don't have a lot of removal, so we might end up having to play a Witness Protection. Oh, we got a late Refute. Love to see that. Refute is really good with Think Twice, because that Think Twice sits in your grave as a 3-mana way to use some of your mana and draw a card, so you can hold up your Refute and know that you'll always be doing something with your mana, even if you're not countering something. Big Fin Bouncer is an excellent tempo play. That is very likely to pick here. Homunculus Horde is really funny, but kind of slow and dirtily, not very consistent. I would guess that this has a much lower win rate than Big Fin Bouncer on average, but it's a lot cooler and a lot funnier. So that is an option too. But I'm just going to go for Big Fin Bouncer, take that raw consistency. Now we got a Bacon to a Pie, still definitely looking for good removal, and that is an excellent one. Meteor Golem's okay too, but 7 mana is a whole bunch. I want to be able to not die slightly earlier than that. Infestation Sage is a really good card to sacrifice to Arbiter of Woes and an Eaten Alive, so we've got 3 different cards that can make good use of that. I like that over a second Icewind Elemental, get us a 1-drop. It's looking pretty beautiful here. We have 22 non-land cards now. This will be our 23rd, grabbing another Infestation Sage, which means every card we take, we can now cut the most mediocre card in the deck, which is probably the Diregraph Ghouls and the Sanguine Siphoner. Just have a pretty excellent blue-black pile here. So pick 5. Unfortunately, none of these are actually exciting, so I'm just going to rare draft highest rarity card for Vault Progress. Essence Scatter is an excellent counterspell, and Burglar Rat's an excellent card to sack, and Big Fin Bouncer's an excellent tempo play. All the good stuff in one pack. That's unfortunate. If any of these were in last pack, we'd have 2 great additions to our deck, but seeing as it is, we're only going to get one of these 3. I'll take the Essence Scatter here, drop one of these extra creatures. Dang, that is really unfortunate how it clumped, because here's another pack where I'm just not going to play any of these cards. But there was one pack with like 3 just wonderful cards for this deck in the middle of all the absolute nothing. I've already got 1 Witness Protection. I'm not going to play 2. Some rare drafting an uncommon to fill the vault faster. Okay. So I'll just run the double ghoul and just get slamming early. This is our 23 non-lands and 1 Dismal Backwater blue-black build. Beautiful stuff. It was a quick draft, which means we had infinite time during the draft to go over our deck and adjust things. So the deck is already fully built. We'll just hop right into the gameplay and see how far this one can take us. All right, here we are on the draw for game 1 with no blue sources and 4 blue spells. That'll be a mulligan to start us off, and this is a much better hand. Ditch one of the 2s and keep our 1, 2, 3 curve. Playing against a white deck. Drawn to an extra land to ditch to the Dreadwing Scavenger. Wary Thespian to start our opponent off. The Infestation Sage being pretty great against that. Just excellent against any 1 toughness creatures, really. Trades into them and leaves behind a flyer. Little insect token. Playing against green, black, and white. Ooh, Mischievous Mystic. I think I'm going to still be mana efficient here and run out the Dreadwing Scavenger. And then the turn that I play Mischievous Mystic, if they haven't killed the Dreadwing Scavenger, I can like guarantee I get a trigger off of it. Because just attacking with Scavenger, even if I don't pay any mana, will trigger the Mystic. It'll give us our second draw for the turn. Also, if we top deck an island, then even if they kill Dreadwing Scavenger, we could go like cast Mystic and activate Strix Lookout on the same turn. That would be a good mana efficient play. Speaking of mana efficient plays, so 1 mana 2/2 and a Mischievous Mystic. Use all 3 mana on that next turn and discard the 4th land to the Scavenger. All right, they are racing here thanks to that first strike equipment. They're going to hit us for 9. I believe we accept that rather than trading Scavenger off. Take 1 really big hit, but then we're going to have chump blockers hanging out off of Mischievous Mystic. We also have a Bacon to a Pie that we can use. So let's play Mystic first. Send these in. Draw a Burglar Rat. I guess I'd rather discard Ghoul and cast Rat than play Ghoul here. Because then I get to play my land for turn towards the Bacon to a Pie as well. And then we have a double block on the Ambush Wolf, Infestation Sage, and Burglar Rat. Obviously they have a lot of power on their board, which is pretty scary, but I do still feel favored here. See how this goes. Down to 6. They have 2 more cards to run out. One of them is a fight spell. That's really profitable for me. They have to lose their last creature to kill our Mischievous Mystic. And they just have 1 card in hand. I can hold up the Bacon to a Pie to make sure that it doesn't kill us. This is a hard decision. The only reason to keep the land would be to try to get Arbiter Woe. So maybe we discard Arbiter Woe at that point. Librarian's a really good card here because they get to draw a card off of it. No matter when I cast Bacon to a Pie, they could just respond to us baking it by drawing the card. Do I want to kill this? I guess. I mean, I'm at 6 life, so I kind of do want to kill basically anything. Send in the squad. Yeah, send in the squad. Sorry, opponent. I'm getting texts while I'm recording. It happens. Mute the phone after this game. Trying to schedule stuff. I probably should have cast Think Twice. I mean, it gets rid of the last card for Threshold, but if I top decked the land, I could play land for turn that turn too, which is big. Yeah, I should have cast it last turn. I would have had this land out already, and then if I top decked another for Arbiter, I could just immediately do that. But it's fine. Here's 7th card in Grave, which is eaten alive, and then they have no blockers, and we kill them. Cool. All right. Great. Great opening hand that game, even if it was a mole down to 6. Those were some excellent cards, specifically Mystic plus Scavenger just being gnarly. That's going to be 1-0 heading into game 2. All right, here we are on the draw for game number 2. We don't have any of the synergies or the combos for the Mischievous Mystic here. So we're just going to hold on to that for a little while. I mean, part of what's so strong about Mischievous Mystic is that just a 2-mana 2/1 flyer is already a pretty great deal, but I would prefer trying to get at least 1/1/1 out of it before it dies, so I'll hold it till a tiny bit later. I'm not going to hold on to it if I have no other play for the turn, but any turn that I have something else I can do, I'm going to lead with that. Oh wow, that Reclamation Sage not having a good time here. No artifact or enchantment for it to blow up, and then I've got the Burglar Rat that made them discard a card. I can just trade into it. So, rough stuff for Reclamation Sage. This is a little awkward. Treetop Snare Spinner is a great card and a big roadblock, so I want to just get mana efficient and blow it up, but I did top deck the Think Twice to trigger the Mystic, so that I could guarantee I get some value out of it before it dies, but they didn't have the removal for it this turn anyway, so now I just get to run out the Icewind Elemental. Be very happy. Okay. I mean, 4 toughness reach creature. We're just not getting through that still. Let's just sack the 1/1. I get a new 1/1 when this enters because it makes me draw a card again, or it lets me draw a card again. Unless they have Refute or Essence Scatter, they are a blue deck. No, my Think Twice gets exiled by the Ambush Wolf. We're still so far ahead on cards because blue-black is just so good at drawing cards in this set. Now we are fine. Now we just get to slam with the Arbiter. Let's do a Think Twice and see if we draw anything to get Dwynen out of the way. We did not. Then just poke with these. I mean, Elemental's just going to bounce off the Dwynen, but might as well. Certainly don't need them on blocks. Flood from our opponent. There's an Eaten Alive. 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh yeah, that's lethal. Okay, that is 2-0 heading into game number 3. Here we are for game 3 now. We're just going to run out some Diregraph Ghouls. My 1-mana creature is as big as your 2-mana creature. Sir Leyline. No, the double elite. They're up a 1/1. Good draw. Now we're up a card. Well, not really. We balanced out the token to where they're not up a token anymore. Each of us has spent 3 cards for the exact same board state, basically. But we have slightly more cards in hand going forward. Ooh, did I say slightly? I meant way more cards in hand. Go, Burglar Rat, go. Ooh, and it was all spells over there. We killed a 3/1 with that thing. They do Ambush Wolf, I think, twice. Take 8. Down to 7. We are 1 mana from Arbiter of Woe wrapping this game up for us. But we're also at 7, so I think we may be on full defense now. Now we're just waiting for Arbiter of Woe. Oh, yeah. Attacking would have ended up pretty bad for us. Against 2 2/2s and 2 4/2s. Some big stuff. Boodum, 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 boodum. See how bad their combat trick is for us. There is no combat trick. The bigger, thicker Burglar Rat has arrived. They discard a Plains. They do have a Banishing Light on the Arbiter. But then I have Mischievous Mystic plus Strix Lookout. Versus 1 Elite. Do that. Give him some of that. Do this. Get the Chumper. Cool to die to a Giant Growth there. Ooh, and I don't have to spend mana. Specifically, I don't have to tap Strix Lookout, which is wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna not cast Strix Lookout. I feel like one of the only ways they could win at this point is Day of Judgment. That's the board wipe, destroy all creatures. So I'm just gonna make sure that doesn't happen. Bite down, yep. Okay. And that was all. So they are dead, and we are 3-0 heading into game 4. My brain had to register what just happened there. The attack and the bite down. I think it was just kind of the scoop. All right, 3-0 heading to game 4. Nice and quickly, too. Game 4, another Diregraph Ghoul zombie infestation here. No 2-mana creature, no 2-mana creature. Fingers crossed. Let's go. Just play a bunch of 1-mana 2/2s and counter anything they do to try to stop them. That is fine. Get out of here, 0-6. Our opponent is under pressure. Bum 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 bum. And they're over it. 4-0. Heading into game 5, still undefeated. All right, here we are for game number 5. Very reasonable hand again. We're on the draw on this one. Opponent is on green. I believe they took a mulligan as well. Let's see about getting a bunch of counters on a wizard instead of getting tokens elsewhere. Much weaker. Much weaker than getting 1/1 flyers, but still a fun little combo that we can set up easily with the Lookout and the Scavenger here. Wildwood Scourge play a Hydra pretty early, so if they get any more +1/+1 counters elsewhere, they're also buffing that Hydra. Cool. I think I'm supposed to lead with Erudite Wizard here, actually. Most of the time you want to just lead with the Dreadwing Scavenger and get your enter the battlefield value, but here the Wizard has enough toughness to stop the Scourge from attacking and could draw removal away from the Dreadwing Scavenger because of that. It does not, but that's fine. Now we can play the Scavenger and trigger the Wizard immediately. Discard a Think Twice, as you do. See if they want to throw a Giant Growth or something at Erudite Wizard, but they don't. They take it all and go to 15. Next turn I could Think Twice to trigger the Wizard and still have Essence Scatter up. Of course, that's only super relevant if Dreadwing Scavenger dies. If Dreadwing Scavenger's still around, it's a lot easier to trigger Wizard. Dreadwing Scavenger does indeed die. As expected. I wouldn't hate casting Uncharted Voyage on the Elfsworn Giant, but I think I would rather double spell here. And then if they don't cast a good creature spell for me to Essence Scatter, I can just activate Strix Lookout, try to make sure I hit that 6th land for the Arbiter of Woe. They do cast a good creature, so we'll scatter that. They just have a 2/2 and a couple 1/1s. And we've got an Arbiter of Woe if I sack the Lookout. But they also don't have a card to discard. Still probably worth it. It's unlikely they're going to draw a card and hold on to it in their hand at this point. So we're really unlikely to get discard value regardless this late into the game. They're over it. Big 5/4 flyers good enough. That is 5-0 now. That would be undefeated all the way into the money were this a premier draft, but quick drafts, because they're so cheap, you do need to get quite a few wins to get your gems back. Yeah, we need the 6th win basically to be in the money off of gems alone. But technically, depending on how much you value the 3 packs worth of cards that we drafted, as well as an additional pack, we could already be there. So 5-0. Heading into game 6. All right, game number 6. See how long this win streak lasts for us. We've got a decent start. Infestation Sage into Burglar Rat. The Eaten Alive if they play anything good. We've got, both of these very expendable creatures to sacrifice to it. There's a big gap in the mana curve. Our next creature isn't until 5 mana, but we have some removal before then. Our opponent is on blue and red. They started with Swiftwater Cliffs, discarded a mountain to the Burglar Rat. Mischievous Mystic. That is way more than good enough to throw an Eaten Alive at, as we know from our own deck. No play turn 3. I think this is going to work out well for us because they likely have Refute, some kind of counterspell here, and just have nothing for them to counter. But then they can play Think Twice instead if they don't play it. Oh, or Brain, Born Cutthroat. You know, I'm honestly pretty chill just killing everything they do for now. Big Fin Bouncer. That's a really good one here because it kills our token completely. If we hit any lands, we have the biggest creatures currently. A 3/4 versus this 3/2, and then a 5/4. Plus they're all in the sky, but we gotta hit those lands. And we are not currently doing that, but Infestation Sage stacks up into the 2 damage we need to clear out Big Fin Bouncer. Think twice towards some mana. Uncharted Voyage is not some mana. I think I'm supposed to just crack this food token at some point. I don't think there's any reason in this deck to hold it. In a lot of sets and in a lot of different decks, there's reasons to keep that food token around to like trigger Void or whatever. The stuff that cares about like permanents leaving the battlefield. Sure. This is all fine. Basically just trumped with the rat, still get our 1/1 flyer. Man, the lands are not arriving here. Play a Micromancer with no other 1-drops in the deck. I might be on that. I really feel like they have a Refute in hand. And Micromancer's threatening enough to get them to cast the Refute. Whereas it's not actually really any good for us here. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. We play the Micromancer to get the Refute out of their hand. I'm taking 6 here. Because if I try to block Add Up, they just cast Think Twice. There's no reason to hold the flyer back. I should have poked them for 1. I mean, I might just die if I don't draw lands. Fingers crossed. Here's my second power on this board so that I can actually try to kill one of their creatures. Unless they think twice into another Refute. Which they did. Show another instant sorcery here. We're getting really close to just having to chump regardless. I think they got just way too much pressure on us too early. We missed way too many lands in a row, but I do have a 3/4 now. All right, well, that's going to be some burn spell. Finish off this elemental. Not quite. So much gas here. Oh my god, they hit a Chandra? Jesus. Just did like every spell in the deck in a big chunk. We kind of did too, but we needed to hit those lands first. We just couldn't cast any of the spells. All right, gross. That'll be our first loss there, 5-1, heading into game 7. Just a little bit of rough mana draws there, and our opponent hit a really good string of spells there. Either we needed to hit all of our lands on curve, and then even against their good string of spells, we would have had a reasonable chance, or we needed them to draw, considerably worse than that if it was going to take as long as it did for us to hit those final points of mana. 5-1, heading into game number 7. All right, here we are on the draw for game number 7. With this many Think Twices, I'm not going to play the Strix Lookout. I'm just going to start spamming Think Twices. That way, at any point, if they play a scary creature, I have Essence Scatter up. Because I've got backup ways to spend my mana. So if they do happen to have like that crazy rare spider or whatever that only costs 3, I've got the scatter up for it. Just draw all 3 of my Strix Lookouts too. Alright, that's scary enough. 4/4 that kills one of my creatures too. Ooh, Mischievous Mystic. I do like you, but I think I'm playing the big one. To have a Refute up now too. Not this turn, but future turns. Fancy Llanowar Elves. And a big old 6/6. Cool. Need to hold up double blue and 1. It's gonna look really suspicious that I'm not just activating Mystic immediately or triggering Mystic immediately with this Think Twice or the Strix Lookout. So I think I'm gonna play another Strix Lookout instead. Because if I'm holding up Refute, Mischievous Mystic's not making a token either way. Start hitting for 7 damage a turn. Ouch. Seven mana, I can play 4 mana worth of cards and still have Refute up. But those 4 mana worth of cards need to be only a single blue. So Mischievous Mystic plus Ghoul and Sage. Which is going to look suspicious, but whatever. At this point, we just play stats. Whenever this creature attacks, another creature gets ++++ trample. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 power in the sky. Not enough to kill them quick. Trampling the 7/7 would kill me hard, so they will have the time to do that, so I do need to counter that. If we had lethal in 1 turn, then I needed to make sure to not counter that, because it wouldn't impact that lethal, and save the counter spell for any like removal or something that they could have. Just pass and play around the big mythic Chandra that we saw our other opponent had. It can like deal 3 or 4 damage to like everything. So it could potentially board wipe out of the red. Holding on to this lookout, so if they play that wipe everything, we could still play another lookout, try to kill them with that. That's 6-1 now. We're only a single win away from the maximum prize out, the full trophy run, and no matter what, we are now in the money out of the draft. Excellent stuff for our return to Foundations. Here we are on the draw for what could be the final game of Magic if we win it. But we've got 2 shots, so even if we lose, we got a chance at the trophy. So we're on the draw against Boros. Potentially scary spot to be, but this is a decently defensive hand. Having a 1 mana 2/2 and then a 3 mana 2/3 gets us some early blocks. There's their 2 mana 3/1 we can trade our 1 mana 2/2 into. No play on turn 2, but we can just hold on to this ghoul. Thrill of Possibility. They discard a card, draw 2, discard Hitotsugu's second right. They're going for it. If somebody has exactly 10 life, they kill us. I'm going to play the Wizard over holding up Refute right now, because I wouldn't really want to refute something like Thrill of Possibility. We don't know how top-heavy their hand is, if they're like waiting for big late-game spells. Dauntless Veteran I would be fine refuting. But if I just hold up the mana for Refute and don't end up doing anything with the mana, it plays really poorly for me. So I'd try to wait till we draw like a Think Twice or something to make it better. See, like here, we can just bounce the Veteran and be fine. Actually, even get to be the aggressor despite being the blue-black deck. Almost Veteran's back. It's not that scary by itself, so it buffs the whole board, gives everybody +1/+1 every time it attacks. So it's just a 3/3 by itself. So we just keep slamming in. Hold up that Refute this turn. Better to hold up Refute than just play a single Strix Lookout. Love to see that trade. They do trade the Veteran into the 3/2. Vanguard Seraph, that's worth a counter. Just a big flyer. To discard an Arbiter, I really don't want to, but I think that's where we're at, because if I don't top deck the land next turn, I have to just play a Lookout, hold up a Scatter, so I don't want to discard either of those. If I do draw land next turn, I'm going to be sad that I discarded Elemental. All right. Sorry, Arbiter of Woe number 2. Not only does Arbiter of Woe need 2 more lands, it needs specifically a swamp as well. So, least consistent card left in our hand. And there is an island, so there is that concern of what if I just draw 2 islands here. We did not, luckily. We do find the swamp, so we'll ditch the Strix Lookout and just play an Arbiter and then Essence Scatter the next play later. Upgrade our Diregraph Ghoul. Sure it's all grown up. Oh no! Shivan Dargan. Well, this has 5 power, so Arbiter of Woe can trade into it. But that's terrifying. I'm sad I did not have Scatter up at exactly that moment. Mischievous Mystic, too. But I gotta run out this Arbiter immediately now that there's a Shivan Dragon on the board. Dreadwing Scavenger's a great draw. Even if they do blow up our Arbiter of Woe, we'll be left with a death-touching flyer that can hold Shivan Dragon off of us. Well, this is going to be something weird if they're attacking with Firebrand too. I'm not even going to speculate, I'm just going to block. Oh. It was just like a weird misplay? That's really, really weird. I don't know what happened there. If they just pre-combated the reinforcements, then the dragon could attack in without being scared of dying. I think we would still be in a winning position, but it obviously would be a lot worse than what we ended up with. Maybe they thought, oh, they probably thought heroic reinforcements was instant speed, so they were trying to get a free kill on Arbiter of Woe there. They were trying to then be like, oh, my Shivan Dragon actually has 6 toughness, so it eats your Arbiter of Woe. Yeah, because if heroic reinforcements was an instant, then it would be better to attack and then cast after blocking. Because otherwise they could just do it, hit me for however much, and then I would still have the Arbiter to kill the Shivan Dragon later. The only way to make sure the Arbiter's dead and the Shivan Dragon is still around would be to buff it mid-combat, but it's a sorcery, so I see what happened. They just did not know heroic reinforcements was a sorcery, so that really just kind of punted them out of the game. Unfortunate way to end it. Would have been cooler if it was 100%, you know, like no misplays, no misreading of the cards and stuff. So that's unfortunate for our opponent. But I do think that we still could have pulled ourselves into a winning position there regardless, even if they played that out differently, thanks to having the Scavenger as well for a backup way to kill the Shivan Dragon. And of course, Mystic plus Scavenger going hard. All right. Excellent draft. Excellent draft. We just had one loss against a really, really good blue-red deck. They hit a great string of spells there near the end when we just couldn't get to our arbiters in time. But outside of that, this deck was really consistent, really great. Part of what's so nice about these blue-black decks and these cards that care about drawing too is that you end up running so many ways to discard a card, to draw a card, discard a card, to just straight up draw cards, to draw and discard with Refute, the Scavenger, that you can get some really, really consistent decks like we did today, where most of our games were quite similar the way that they played out, just because of how many cards we got to dig through in our deck. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. This is a completely rareless deck as well. Our bomb rares, so to speak, are our very powerful uncommons: Dreadwing Scavenger, Mischievous Mystic, and the couple Arbiter of Woes. These are our best cards, kind of our win conditions, our finishers. There are some really powerful uncommons in the set, and yeah, pretty nice to go back to some bread and butter core set Magic. Super not bomby like every set is nowadays. This one, there are still good bomb rares, but you can pull off decks like this of just commons and uncommons and still feel like you have a deck with great bombs because you have really good high power, high synergy uncommons as well. So sweet draft, nice change of pace. Happy to head back to Foundations for today's draft. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.